with his bip pointer and so much else that you have to be moved by their efforts. Who came on in an important game at home, fell behind early, then came back and fighted and went ahead and won it. 6 seconds, 5, Hextall way out, shoots it up, and ladies and gentlemen, the Edmonton Oilers have won the 1987 Stanley Cup.
That is the final 30 minutes of the 1987 Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers won Game 7. So, did the Oilers ready to win Game 7? Let's find out here in Florida.
We welcome you back live to Sunrise, Florida. It's Edmonton and the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. A few national anthems away. We send it down ringside.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see their eyes, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
This is Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm Jack Michaels alongside Bob Stauffer to bring it to you on 880 CHED of the Oilers Radio Network. Electric atmosphere inside Emirates Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida, after a boiling hot day with temperatures in the high 30s and high humidity. Stuart Skinner, 5-1 over the last 6 elimination games he plays, will get the call in net. 7-6 save percentage, .891 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bouchard and Ekholm in front of him. Opening line centered for now by Connor McDavid. Nugent Hopkins and Corey Perry are his wingers. The starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Homes. Flexibility within reach. Get back in the game. Customizable designs from Coventry, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers, dressed in the white outlined in blue and orange. Here we go. Sasha Barkov, Connor McDavid, the two captains in Game 6 is underway, with Florida having control of the faceoff. Bobrovsky in net, Forsling and Ekblad, the starting pair on defense. Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart are Barkov's wingers. Edmonton is offside, moving over the line left to right in our first period, a period in which Edmonton has been outscored 7-0 over the last 3 games. Referees John Hebert, Chris Rooney. Linesman Devin Berg and Ryan Gibbons. Puck dropped outside the Florida line this time. Barkov wins it. Forsling shoots wide, and that's an errant play by Forsling, leading to an icing call against the defending champions. 16 seconds into this first period. Edmonton and Florida in Game 6 of the final. The cup is in the building. The Panthers can go back-to-back with a win tonight. If not, Game 7 in Edmonton, Friday night, we'd have it for you at 620 Mountain. McDavid wins the draw, pounded toward the net by Ekholm. A painful block by Carter Verhaeghe, and now Evan Bouchard will send it in deep for Edmonton. 6 consecutive finals. A team from the Sunshine State has been in it. Tampa won 2 of 3. Florida looking to do the same. Shot in by Forsling around the boards. Ekholm trying to gather behind the net, giving way to McDavid, and off to Corey Perry. We expect McDavid and Draisaitl to be paired together perhaps as soon as the next shift. A big hit by Perry as he flattened Brad Marchand and his helmet popped off. 77 years of living on this planet came together in that collision. A dump in and Seth Jones fell down. Draisaitl finishing his check, and Edmonton has been bruising in the early going. Draisaitl burrows in. He has both overtime winners. A quick shot by Kane and a save made by Bobrovsky. The rebound underneath his prone form, and he gets a whistle. He did not have that puck cleanly, had no idea where it was. Draisaitl won a battle, and Kane wasted no time in firing the first shot on net tonight. And Bobrovsky, a little fortunate to get the whistle.
100%, and fortunate that didn't squeeze through the wickets there. 2 big hits for the Edmonton Oilers. And it was Corey Perry and Leon Draisaitl throwing the body around. Oilers need something out of Evander Kane. They've moved him into the top 6 here, Jack.
Kane, 6 goals, 12 points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Off the draw, won by Draisaitl. Kapanen did not play last game. He parachutes out of the press box and right into the top 6. Matthew Tkachuk clears for the Panthers, who are dressed in the red, the blue pants, the white numerals. Brett Kulak feeds it up the gut for Darnell Nurse. Gives it up. Kane looking to shoot again. This time he whiffs, and here comes Sam Bennett. But Evander Kane looks like he's on a mission tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Bennett over the line. A shot off the rush by Matthew Tkachuk. Missed badly. Rebound held in by Nico Mikkola. Bennett, of course, the Stanley Cup leader with 15 goals in the postseason. Mikkola forced behind the net by Trent Frederick, and then he'll swing it back to Bennett, who's joined by Hyman, Crosby, Ovechkin. Those are the only players in the last 20 years to come up with as many as 15 goals in a single playoff run. It's Nurse up to center. He'll shoot it in. Giving it a look is Bobrovsky, and then Nurse pitchforked it back behind the net. Grabbing it once again is Evander Kane. He's hungry on that puck. And now Adam Henrique twists it back to Woolman, a shot, and that got through, and a save made by Bobrovsky. Frederick and Henrique lingering and working along the end boards. Jeff Skinner has come on to join this line. John Klingberg shoots off the glass, and Skinner's back on the puck for Edmonton. He'll send it behind the net for Frederick. Angled, a shot by Klingberg, redirected. John Klingberg back in the lineup after a 2-game hiatus where Troy Stetcher took over. Mikkola did not get it out. Edmonton punches it back, and then Skinner ripped one wide from a tough angle short side. Held in by Wallman, and the Oilers continue continue to roll it. Skinner fires. Save Bobrovsky. And another awkward-looking stop. Edmonton all over Florida in the first 3 minutes as both Jeff Skinner and Evander Kane firing from above the right face-off dot gave Bobrovsky fits, but give the 36-year-old credit. He's able to come up with both saves and keep it scoreless.
Yeah, the Oilers didn't shoot enough the other night early. They only had 3 shots on goal the entire first period. They're already at 4 right now, and we're 3 minutes into this game.
Florida dominated early in this game. Shots are 4-0, 3 minutes in, and Edmonton goes right back to work. And this is what we were talking about before the game, Bob, getting all 4 lines going early. This time it's Janmark, Podkolzin, and Brown's turn. Bennett to take the draw for Florida. Kulak and Nurse the pairing. A face-off, fought for, controlled, and finally cleared by Evan Rodriguez, then turned back over. And Florida's fumbling around in its own end right now. Rodriguez given another opportunity by Kulikov, located Bennett, and he'll shoot it in deep. Shaky start for the defending champions. Oilers on the puck. Connor Brown double team down low in his own zone. Bennett tried to nudge it out front. Brown had it, lost it, poked away by Rodriguez. Schmidt up top. Kulikov right point. Deliberate pass off the boards, kicked off the side of the net, patrolled by Skinner. Rodriguez, Kulikov, Nate Schmidt. Wrist shot redirected and a right pad save on Matthew Tkachuk, made by goaltender Stuart Skinner. Janmark with a rebound, locates Nurse, angled up to Podkolzin, and though he was belted, the puck remains under Edmonton's control. Skinner wanders out to handle for Kulak. 4 minutes gone. Edmonton and Florida, no score in Game 6. Panthers won Game 5 by a count of 5-2, and already we've seen McDavid and Draisaitl paired together. 4 minutes into the hockey game, McDavid and Draisaitl are on the first line together. Here's Sasha Barkov for Florida, looking to give it up to Verhaeghe. Cycle disrupted by Matthias Ekholm. Barkov working hard against Evan Bouchard, peeled away by Ekholm. Shakes off a stick check, a hit hard on Corey Perry, and the puck shaken back through Ekholm, and then Bouchard had it taken away by Reinhart. Tucks inside on Ekholm. Shot score! Sam Reinhart. Brilliant individual play. And Florida takes a 1-0 lead in Game 6 at 4:36.
Well, it's just a great play by Sam Reinhart. Bouchard turns the puck over, and Reinhart hops inside of Matthias Ekholm, elevates the puck up and over Stuart Skinner on the glove side. Oilers had possession of the puck. It's a stationary breakout that Edmonton blows, and Florida yet again has scored in the first period.
And on their first shot, credited. Sam Reinhart unassisted, 4:36. His 8th of the playoffs, and we said it in Game 3 when he got on the board that gave Reinhart a bit of a sniff. And he's been going ever since with goals in 4 consecutive games for the Florida Panthers. Chipped up the left-hand side off the draw. Anton Lundell fires into the glove of Stuart Skinner as now Florida wants to test Skinner a little bit. And 5 minutes into this game, after a promising start, and you heard Chris Knobloch talk about this after Game 5, promising first 4 or 5 minutes, and then Florida is able to score.
Well, the Oilers are going to have to dig in even deeper here because this building was on it, and Florida was a little bit off for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and Bobrovsky fought a couple shot attempts off. Look out.
Off the draw, quick chance, and a save made by Skinner right off the faceoff. And Florida has scored off the draw at times in this series. Lundell that time right off the faceoff.
I mean, Reinhart individual effort beats 2 men on this goal to make it 1-0. And think about what happened with Brad Marchand's 2 goals.
Ducked inside of Jake Woolman and then split the defense on a faceoff that Florida actually lost. Off the draw, Mikkola in front. Quick shot denied, and that's a big save on Gadjevich by Stuart Skinner. Maybe that settles him and the Oilers down, because that was a sitter for Gadjevich. He and A.J. Greer making their postseason debuts this year. And Gadjevich looking for his third of the playoffs. Didn't happen. Oilers funnel it up the right-hand side. Pulled off the puck was Kulak. Lead pass Seth Jones down the middle. A.J. Greer, and he's checked by Darnell Nurse, and the play dies for Skinner to leave it for Brett Kulak. Rammed it off the boards. Kasperi Kapanen looking for a bouncing puck that's forced free by Bennett. And he'll reset behind the Florida net. Turned over. Kapanen with a puck in the high slot. Panthers still a little bit jittery in their own end, but now a clear back to the Edmonton line, and that's gathered by Jake Wallman as the Oilers look to move up ice left to right. They trail 1-0. Sam Reinhart unassisted 4.5 minutes in. Here's Bennett jumping on a loose puck in the neutral zone to Nate Schmidt up to Evan Rodriguez. Carried as far as center, tried to get it in deep, and John Klingberg wouldn't let him. Off to Nugent Hopkins, and then on to Wallman. He'll drive it behind the net. So with the switch to McDavid and Draisaitl together 5-on-5, you've got Nugent Hopkins centering Kane and Kapanen. Here's Kulikov looking to muscle it out, does so to center ice, and now Sam Reinhart takes it out wide, looking to get a shot off, and Wallman won't let him. Barkov in the corner, takes over for Reinhart, who then lost a puck battle to Kane, chipped back toward the high slot, held in by Carter Verhaeghe. Little give and go. Verhaeghe tried to kick it to his forehand off his right skate out to Ekblad at drive, and that was blocked by Wallman. He's slightly hobbled as the puck trickles back to center, carried in by Verhaeghe. Barkov gives it back to him, and a quick shot curled wide. Rebound Brad Marchand mishandled the puck, and now it's Draisaitl on to Connor McDavid. 2 Florida Panthers back. McDavid will chip it toward Bobrovsky. Play it up the right-hand side. Marchand did not get it out as Corey Perry looked to snatch it away, but Barkov able to recover. Verhaeghe cross ice, and now Ekblad will be guilty of an icing call. Poor pass intended for Marchand. Ekholm back defensively to draw the icing call with 12:42 to go in the first period. Edmonton the first 5 shots on net, Florida the last 4.
And one in the net on a brilliant individual effort from Sam Reinhart.
But now off the icing call, it'll be Barkov against Draisaitl. Perry will line up in the slot. McDavid on the left half board, shadowed by Forsling. Face-off win for Barkov. Looking to skate it up ice is Verhaeghe, and he got clipped. A hard hit by Bouchard, and Verhaeghe will dash off the ice as Ekholm takes over behind the Edmonton net. McDavid a drop-off for Ekholm up the left-hand side. Corey Perry flung it toward Bobrovsky. He's forced to cover. 12:23 to go in the first period. Keep in mind, with McDavid and Draisaitl together 5-on-5, this is maybe why Chris Knobloch looks toward that, because coming into tonight in elimination games, they had an 81-16 advantage in shot attempts when playing 5-on-5. McDavid and Draisaitl together, never a bad solution. But right now, it's Florida who's broken out on top in Game 6. 1-0 on a goal by Sam Reinhart. We played 7.5 minutes, and this is 4 Oilers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. 5th straight game in this Stanley Cup final. Florida has gotten the first goal. Remember, Edmonton scored 66 seconds into the final of Game 1 as Draisaitl scored to open Game 1 and close Game 1 with an overtime winner. But since then, Florida has won 3 of 4 and can close it out with a victory in Game 6 tonight. Draisaitl and McDavid pour back into the offensive zone. Perry went down. A battle in the corner. The Panthers bottled up. Reinhart can't get it out of the zone. He has the 1 goal here in Game 6 and now finds Verhaeghe for a clear up to center. And Verhaeghe will backhand it in deep. Oilers have now given up the first goal in 12 of their 22 Stanley Cup playoff games. Florida's allowed the first goal only 7 out of 23. Verhaeghe into the offensive zone for Seth Jones. High slot shot, sailed wide, rebound Bouchard. Kind of whiffed on a clear, but then wrestled away by Brown from Marchand, and back to center. Mikkola gave it away. Marchand scored twice in Game 5. It's been a shaky start for him thus far in Game 6. Luostarinen able to bull his way in. 2 hard-working customers, but Colson takes over from Luostarinen, and now has a head of steam up the left-hand side. He'll send one skipping behind the Florida net. Bobrovsky Bobrovsky up the boards. Matthias Janmark from the corner tried to center. That was cleared, and Nurse was able to hold the zone. Nate Schmidt thought it exited, didn't get the call, and now Janmark given new life, ultimately gave it away. Then Lindell almost in turn gave it away, but Tkachuk from one knee was able to pop it back to center. Edmonton floods the zone, forces a bad Florida pass, and that's an icing call. Good pressure from Edmonton, and the Oilers continue to roll over their lines here as now they'll go Nugent Hopkins, Kane, and Kapanen with 10:48 to go in the first period, and the Panthers leading by a count of 1-0.
And just an egregious sequence for Edmonton. A grenade thrown by Matthias Ekholm, who's had 4 tough periods here. Bouchard couldn't pick it up cleanly, and then a real good play by Reinhart, and the Oilers needed to be bailed out by Skinner, and he couldn't come up with a stop, and that's why they're up 1-0.
Nugent Hopkins wins the faceoff. Kapanen to Wallman. A shot sails high and wide on a screen. Bobrovsky, who never saw that puck, then chipped off the glass, held in by Kapanen. Wound it around, down low, Luo Sturinen. Trying to box out his man, fished it out of the corner. Unable to clear, however, was Matthew Tkachuk. Swept around, and you've got John Klingberg. Put it back behind the net, and it's Nugent Hopkins. Back to Klingberg. High slot. Shot coming. Wallman wide. Rebound. Bobrovsky. He'll pin it right side of the net. And now pushing and shoving. A couple of hands went right into the grill of Evander Kane. And then Tkachuk in turn gets a couple of straight rights from Kasperi Kapanen. And those two pawing at one another. And we're going to have some penalties called here. We're going to have a call. It's just whether it's one each way or just the Florida man. I know there's a penalty coming against Florida.
Kane's going off too here, Jock.
Yeah, so it's one each way. Sam Bennett, Evander Kane. They'll be sent off. Coincidentals at 9:45 of this first period, I imagine. Roughing minors coming from Jean Hebert.
Florida 9 minor penalty for roughing, 4-on-4.
Slashed in a rough, 4-on-4. Now, 4-on-4 hockey in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and for that matter this season, has favored Edmonton, while the Panthers have been outscored 2-0 in the playoffs. Oilers 2-1 in the postseason, 4-0 in the regular season. So this 4-on-4 figures to be in favor of Edmonton. Open ice for McDavid and Draisaitl, who are out there with 2 shooters, Wallman and Bouchard. Face-off, right side of Bobrovsky, but Florida's able to come up with a draw, and Ekblad will skate it out of the zone. Intercepted by Draisaitl. He'll play it back to Wallman, who trades with Bouchard as Edmonton resets in its own end. A lead pass to Connor McDavid. Scored his first goal of the series in Game 5. Hustling down the right-hand side. Forsling played it well. Panthers don't get it clear, though. Draisaitl took it away. Up to Wallman, high slot. Bouchard to Draisaitl, loading up right circle. One-timer, Bouchard sprawling save made by Bobrovsky. Panthers will come out of their own zone, and it's hoisted in, but turned over. A little mistake by Reinhart. Gave it right to Bouchard, and now Draisaitl swiftly advances through the neutral zone, hits the Florida line. Looks for a teammate. He's got a man. A shot. Kulak, and a save made. Bobrovsky, the rebound cleared to Forsling, and Florida wants a reload here with 9:20 to go in the first. Kulak had Bobrovsky going the other way.
Yeah, 2 good looks for Edmonton there, 4v4.
Nikola conservatively nearly gave it away against Nugent Hopkins, and then Marchand spilled at center ice. Florida fans wanted a call, none forthcoming. More than 19,500 with a Stanley Cup in the building, seeing if the Panthers can do what they did last year and win the Cup on home ice. Lundell has it twisted away, and now you've got Kulak putting the brakes on for Edmonton. Right side, Connor Brown at the red line. 4-on-4 in effect for another half minute. 8:45 to go in the first period. Panthers lead at 1-0. Lundell bounces one through the neutral zone. It was Sam Reinhart with a steal. Jumped inside of Ekholm and beat Stuart Skinner. 1-0 Florida. Here's Klingberg. Stymied as he hit the Edmonton line. Rodriguez will take it behind his own net. Bobrovsky gave up just 1 goal in the clincher last year. That was Game 7. This is Game 6, where Edmonton has won 8 of 9 since Connor McDavid joined the hockey club. Adam Henrique battling for position as the teams come back to full strength. The lead pass for Bennett is off the mark. This is icing against the Florida Panthers with 8:08 to go in the first period.
Edmonton, other than one sequence, has had a really good first period, Jack.
And yet it's 1-0 Florida.
And
Chris Knobloch has talked about that. He doesn't feel like his club has played that badly 5-on-5 in the first period. They just haven't finished.
Yeah.
Draisaitl between McDavid and Corey Perry. Won the face-off cleanly. Bouchard guides to Ekholm. His shot deflected away by Bobrovsky, who has 3 shutouts in this postseason for Florida and 6 in his career. Oilers with a puck. Left point, it's Bouchard. Faked the pass, then tried to center, and Kulikov broke it up. He was lying prone on the ice. McDavid picked it up, and he was knocked off balance, and the Panthers will launch back through center. A steal by Verhaeghe on Bouchard. A wrist shot, and that caught a piece of Skinner and then the outside of the left goalpost. That was a shaky-looking stop. Bouchard with an outlet. Florida able to break it up. No, Draisaitl with a steal. McDavid got inside of Reinhart and then jabbed away by Bobrovsky. He got his stick out there as McDavid tried to drag it across the blue paint. Ekblad up the middle. Heck of a play by Draisaitl. Wristed toward the net by Barkov, who doesn't have a goal in this series, and a save made by Stuart Skinner. Ekblad tried to nudge one in front. Henrique took it away from Barkov. Florida crowds the offensive zone. Up top, here's a shot coming, and that was deflected out of play. Tkachuk set it up for Reinhart, and he could not thread it through heavy traffic in front of the Edmonton net. So with the puck out of play and Florida waiting an O-zone draw, we'll take a break from Amerant Bank Arena. Sam Reinhart's goal 4.5 minutes in is the difference right now. The Panthers looking to win the Stanley Cup. Lead Edmonton 1-0 in Game 6. This is the Stanley Cup Final at Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. 1-0 Florida, 6:57 to play first period. Face off in the offensive zone. And the Panthers go with Tomas Nosek lining up opposite Adam Henrique. And off the draw, the puck squirts loose, and Connor Brown will clear up the right-hand side. Put just enough on it to trap Kulikov in the corner. Gadjevich, in turn, challenged by Kulak and Brown, and Nurse kept it alive at the point. A sharp angle shot by Brown missed everything, and that puck curled off the corner boards and all the way back through the neutral zone. A reset for Darnell Nurse. Sam Reinhart, the game's only goal, Game 6 of the Cup Final, bumped in by Janmark. 1-0 Florida. Brad Marchand looking for his second Stanley Cup. Won his first in his first full year in the National Hockey League with the Boston Bruins, a team that was down 3-2. That's the last team down 3-2 in a Stanley Cup Final to win the Stanley Cup. Whistled up the right-hand side. A steal by Wallman. He'll chip it ahead for Evander Kane. Tried to jam it in deep. That was taken away. Down to one knee. And turning it over was Luos Turinen. Here's Nugent Hopkins scooping, centering, and Kapanen could not get a clean shot through. Out to Wallman. Florida's made some mistakes, especially from its own end. Here's Nugent Hopkins, a drive, and Bobrovsky did not catch that one cleanly. We saw the glove hand at times appear a bit shaky in the first 2 games, but Florida's able to clear the rebound up the right-hand side, and a reset for Wallman as Edmonton changes it up.
This ice looks heavy. Pucks are bouncing all over the place. You get a chance to put it on the net. Put it on the net. Can't pass it in.
McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry back on it. We saw Edmonton with that shot-first mentality in the first few minutes. Draisaitl with a forecheck. Won a battle. Got it back from Perry out to Bouchard, and now a shot from Ekholm. No, he'll send a pass instead to McDavid behind the net, who's immediately checked off the puck, but Jones did not get it out. Florida continues to turn the puck over at times in their own zone. Barkov finally muscled it through Draisaitl, and Verhaeghe will shoot it in for the Panthers. Skinner to knock it down. He'll play it off the left-hand glass. Bounced off the skates of Perry. Sam Bennett through a crevice in the Oiler defense. Looks for a return pass. Ducks inside. A shot and save made. Stuart Skinner rebound Tkachuk, and that was blocked, as was the rebound attempt by Verhaeghe. Then Tkachuk won a battle. Centering pass. A quick dish. And from across, Bennett was trying to hit Verhaeghe, but it caught a skate, and now McDavid the other way. Ekblad back. Perry a shot. Fought off by Bobrovsky. And the rebound sifted to the corner. Here's a steal by Jeff Skinner. Fires a pass across to Kulak. And then left point, it's Nurse. Back to Skinner, a one-timer, and he smoked it wide. Rebound taken by Matthew Tkachuk and smacked back into the Florida bench by Darnell Nurse. I believe we'll have a neutral zone face-off when we come back. 4:07 to go in the first period. Some kind of save by Stuart Skinner on Sam Bennett and a couple of timely shot blocks. Meanwhile, at the other end, Bobrovsky hasn't made it look pretty, but he's bageled the Oilers through 16 minutes. It's 1-0 Florida in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers Radio Network.
On the Radio Player Canada app. This is the Oilers Radio Network.
4:07 to play, first period. Henrique centering Frederick and Skinner. Offensive zone draw for the Edmonton Oilers. They've outshot the Panthers 10-6, yet trail 1-0. Sam Reinhart unassisted, the only goal of the hockey game, 4.5 in. Off the draw, Jeff Skinner for the Oilers. Centering pass, and that eluded Adam Henrique. Appeared to be there, and the Panthers send it skipping back inside the Oiler blue line. Nurse on to Frederick. He got caught with a glancing blow from Sam Bennett, who was stoned by Stuart Skinner on the last sequence. Meanwhile, the Oilers able to jab it back in. Adam Henrique looking for a Stanley Cup in his third appearance in the final. Up the right-hand side, Rodriguez managed to boot it up the right-hand side. Marchand couldn't control. Edmonton will dump it back in. No icing. Oilers want a change in personnel as Forsling drifts back to make a play on it for the Panthers. Up to Luo Storinen. He'll gain the line. Shot in by Lundell. Off to Brad Marchand. A centering pass. Redirected, and Wallman saved a goal. Skinner was sliding to the far post, and if Wallman was not there for that ricochet, it's probably 2-0 Florida. Played the puck with a high stick. A faceoff will be in front of the Florida bench outside the blue line. And that would have been a fortuitous goal for Florida, but nevertheless, a goal were it not for the presence of Wallman.
Yeah, Wallman made a good play there, but Jack, when the Oilers have any kind of duress, they seem to be, it's the caliber of the opportunity that Florida's getting could be catastrophic for Edmonton. They've had like 4 little flurries in this game. The Oilers have been better creating some chances themselves. They haven't had any puck luck around the net, and Florida's had a couple bounces and then one terrific goal.
Nosek won a face-off, carrying it in, A.J. Greer, a backhander to save, Skinner rebound, swatted away. Schmidt, one-timer, fired wide. Kulikov missed the net, and Connor Brown able to clear. Kulikov denied a potential 2-on-1 by one-handing it over to Schmidt. He'll fire it back in. Podkolzin on the puck for Edmonton, whistled it off the backside of Janmark, and that puck eventually corralled one more time by Podkolzin. Klingberg, a high flip through the neutral zone, and Podkolzin will be first on it, pursued by Barkov. Behind the net, Connor Brown. Between the wickets, no one there. Kulikov with an easy clear for Florida, but he put too much on it, and that mistake leads to an icing call. And Edmonton with an offensive zone face-off and 2:21 remaining in this first period of Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton took Game 1 4-3 in overtime. Florida bounced back, won it 5-4 in double OT in Game 2. Game 3 was a runaway for the Panthers 6-1. Edmonton rallied from 3-0 down to win 5-4 in overtime in Game 4. And on Saturday night, back in the City of Champions, it was Florida 5, Edmonton 2. Brings us to Game 6 here in Sunrise. Game 7, if necessary, will be played Friday night back in Edmonton. Off the draw, Kapanen and Kane work in the right corner. Coming up on 2 minutes to play. Florida 1-0 lead. This man, Sam Reinhart, with the puck and with the game's only goal. Swatted away from Barkov. He'll find a bouncing puck at center. Kane and Nurse in a real dogfight at the red line. Panthers trying to muscle it back into Edmonton territory, and Podkolzin and Nugent-Hopkins won't let him. Finally carried forth by Reinhart. He got drilled by Kulak and never got a shot away. Darnell Nurse. Fork 3, Kane battling on the half wall. Panthers maintain. From the point, it's lifted down low for Carter Verhaeghe. Centering pass, scooted through Barkov. Mikkola held it in, fired on net, guided to the corner routinely by Skinner. Now Marchand with 1:20 to go. Verhaeghe to Seth Jones, looks for a lane, still looking, dishing. Barkov, right circle, backdoor to Marchand, and that was out of his reach. Kapanen was able to deflect back to center, and the Panthers must regroup at the red line. Carried in by Lundell, shooting, and that missed the net. Short side on Stuart Skinner. Marchand with a casual giveaway, and Draisaitl was able to sneak it through Aaron Ekblad. Tried to force it up ice, but Lundell had recovered defensively. Then Bouchard tried to hit McDavid with a pass that was intercepted. Luostarinen, right point, waits, dishes, Bennett, shot, score! 2-0 Florida, Matthew Tkachuk. 46 seconds to go in the period, and Tkachuk has his 8th of the playoffs.
It's, you want to go best on best if you're Edmonton, and unfortunately for the Oilers, they got 2 goals against the McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry line. Is Tkachuk cuts to the middle of the ice, elevates the puck. Bouchard's the net front there, along with Lundell, and Edmonton's in a world of hurt again.
And Lundell did take away Skinner's eyes a bit there. Sent in deep by Tkachuk. What do we have off the draw? We have a beach ball on the ice. Panthers are a little frustrated. They had something else brewing. And a beach ball came tumbling onto the ice, which negated a potential scoring chance. Luostarinen waited, and then Tkachuk from the high slot able to bury it. Tell you what, that beach ball, I got to say, Florida was pouring right back in. Tkachuk now 3 goals, 3 assists in his last 4 games after a quiet start to the Stanley Cup final. And Luostarinen continues to contribute.
You said it in Game 3. Their guys that were cold started heating up, and it's been a different series since then.
Floated back the other way by Bouchard. But remember, Edmonton has rallied from a first period deficit before in this building, in this final. Bouchard to Draisaitl, and he'll fire it in deep. Panthers pinned in their own zone. Final 15 seconds of the period. And this puck is forced back through center. Lundell, by the way, with a 2nd assist on the scoring play. Draisaitl had it swatted off his stick by Barkov, and Florida's 60 minutes to a Stanley Cup is down to 40. Tkachuk from Luostarinen and Lundell at 19:13. Reinhart unassisted at 4:36. And Florida with a 2-0 lead as we head to the dressing room. Bob, what's Chris Knoblauch going to say? Once again, similar to Game 5, a promising start gives way to a multi-goal deficit, and this is the 6th consecutive game, meaning the entirety of the Stanley Cup final. Edmonton's given up at least 2 goals in the first period, no exception once again tonight.
And it's who got beat. Their top pairing, Ekholm and Bouchard. Ekholm throws a grenade up to Bouchard, and then Bouchard tries to get back in support. Reinhart makes a great play, beats Ekholm. Bouchard's stick gets a piece of the shot, and it deflects up and over glove side on Stu Skinner. And then the Oilers have McDavid and Draisaitl and Perry out again and again.
If you can't get enough sports, tune into CBC Gem this summer for high-stakes competitive action in Northern Super League, Volleyball Nations League, and Grand Slam track. Don't miss the excitement. Watch free on CBC Gem. Stats after 20, brought to you by Rogers, Canada's home of hockey. And the Edmonton Oilers stats that continue to linger throughout this playoff, and in particular Stanley Cup Finals, the fact they trailed 2-0, even though, as mentioned by the panel and Craig and Chris, the Oilers did get off to a strong start in this hockey game, and that included a first shift hit on the part of Corey Perry, who continues to play much younger than his 40 years of age would suggest, and he is a winner, having won a Stanley Cup not long after he was drafted by the Anaheim Ducks. It's been a wonderful run for him in Stanley Cup Finals, but he is hoping that it finishes with the Stanley Cup. 237th career playoff game tonight. Craig and Chris is really hoping he can help push his team to career game 238 in the postseason Friday night for him in Edmonton.
3rd highest among skaters in Stanley Cup playoff history and games played, and the only Oiler with more than 1 shot in the opening period. So the Oilers hope they can author the comeback like they did in game number 4 here. They fell behind 3-0, only to erase that lead, score 4 in a row, and end up winning in overtime. But desperate times here. How about 4 in the first period? 6 goals against Tampa, 5 against Toronto, 6 against Carolina, 13 against Edmonton. A huge difference in why they might be 2 periods away from a Stanley Cup.
Well, and once again, even up by 2, you know the message from Paul Maurice had to be more aggressive. That first shift, the forecheck was there, the pinching down by the defense, something they did not do in game 4. Looks here early on like he'll be having them focused on not repeating that issue that they had then.
There's Rodriguez sending it around. Barkov on the far side, and Reinhart follows up. Bumped there by Nugent-Hopkins. It comes free, and the Oilers on it as it comes out to center. Kapanen blows a tire. They feed it across, and it'll be fired in deep by Kulikov. Barkov on the far side. He's taken down by Klingberg. Fans react, officials do not. We went through the first period without the power play. A 1 4-on-4 situation. Nate Schmidt turns it over. There's Perry along the boards, but Kulikov gets it back. Reinhart ahead. And it'll be flipped in by Verhaeghe, who led the Panthers in ice time in that opening period at 7:48. Matthias Ekholm. Bouchard onto the right side. Here's Perry. Ekholm around on the near side, up against Ekblad. Bouchard from the corner, trying to turn away from Marchand. Ekholm at the line, all the way around to Draisaitl. Ekblad there defensively. Draisaitl got it to McDavid, out of the corner, got Perry in front, but couldn't get the pass across as it was blocked by Bobrovsky.
Just lost control at the last second. You know, interesting strategically here for Chris Knoblauch. McDavid's line was 3rd up to start this second period. You know that you don't have that last change. The effort of Forsling right here gets the stick down. That just disrupts McDavid's stick enough that he loses control, or he's got on the back door there Corey Perry for a tap-in.
Draisaitl on the draw. The Oilers win it. Perry flips that to the net, and Bobrovsky with Forsling tying him up, but the Panthers escape. It's Draisaitl kicking it further for Perry, trying to center it. McDavid crashing in there, but Florida will take it away and dump it out to center ice. Back in comes McDavid, 2-on-1 with Perry in front. Oh, Bobrovsky got a piece of that. What a chance for the Oilers, and back the other way. It's Luostarinen and off Ekholm and out. Bobrovsky with his biggest save so far.
Well, it's a couple of good chances. Right off the draw initially, curl back, just trying to get it to the front. Look at the box out by Forsling. Doesn't allow McDavid to get his stick on the ice. Now a turnover in the neutral zone. A great play by Draisaitl. But watch this again. Forsling forces McDavid to take a different angle. Just reaching out enough that it doesn't allow Perry to reach forward and get good connection on that shot. Gustav Forsling, he's been a tough guy to get around, and there's a couple of examples there. Close, but not quite.
Now the fourth line comes out for Florida. A.J. Greer off the back of the net. Look at Greer twisting and turning. Back to the line. Mikkola sent it around behind the net. Jesuits unable to corral that, but now he's got it on the pass from Jones. Back up top, Mikkola. Fourth line hemming the Oilers in their own zone, and now Mercer take it away. Off the boards and out, Connor Brown's got Henrique, and here's Henrique setting it right on, and that sticks to Bobrovsky. Well, a new NBA documentary explores how a change in policy made Canada into a global basketball powerhouse. Watch Inbound for free on CBC Gem.
Well, right now, if you're Edmonton, you just got to keep that positive energy on your bench. You can't get thinking too far ahead, but the next shift. Try to build off of some shifts, get this Florida team back on their heels a bit. That's been really the challenge. When Florida is on top of their game, they're usually dumping it into your zone and putting pressure on your D and not allowing you to make those kind of clear passes to get your offensive game going.
Oilers been a good road team this year in the postseason, winning 7 of their last 9. After dropping their first 2 in Los Angeles to start the playoffs. Here's Rodriguez putting it on, and the rebound cleared away by Wollman. Nate Schmidt back. Up ahead, Rodriguez. Sam Bennett's got the puck. Bennett in with a move, trying to get to the net. A wraparound try. Skinner down. Schmidt's got it, and that's turned away by Skinner. Barry Kapanen on the puck. Bennett takes it back again. Feeds the point. Changes underway here as Florida deep in the Oilers zone. But worked ahead now, and Kapanen's going to carry it out to center. Gets to the red line, gets the change as he fires it in on Bobrovsky. Evander Kane unable to control that. Jones will swing it around the boards. Ekholm steps up on Reinhart, but he's able to lock that out. Reinhart just outside his own line. A couple of Oilers surrounding him, and it comes loose for Bouchard. Fires that onto the tape for Draisaitl. Trying to cut in. Drops it back to Ekholm. Now Bouchard. Slap pass, and that's out of the reach of Draisaitl. Skinner tied up by Barkov. Mikkola tries to take over. Skinner looking for a penalty. None forthcoming. Barkov. And you can hear the dismay of Jeff Skinner.
Well, Chris Knobloch trying to get a little bit more speed up there with McDavid and Draisaitl, putting Skinner for that one shift. Almost paid off with a good effort behind the net.
There's McDavid knocking it loose for Draisaitl. Back to McDavid. Back around it goes Kulak. Off the boards, right on. Kicked away by Bobrovsky. With Podkolzin on the doorstep. Now Skinner playing it away from the on-rushing Lusterinen. Kulak ahead. Podkolzin on the move. He'll flip it down into the Florida zone. Marchand bumped off the puck. It'll come loose for Brown. Back to the line. Nurse. And that came out. Offside call.
Well, how about the confidence and creativity of Sam Bennett? He's having himself a heck of a Stanley Cup final all the way through. Tries the wraparound on that side. Skinner makes not only the one save, but then another. This is going to be a tight battle. That next goal is so important for both.
Rogers continues for the Stanley Cup final. The main jackpot is just over $9.8 million, and the playoff bonus jackpot closing in on $11.8 million and continuing to climb fast. Get your tickets now anywhere in Alberta at EdmontonOilers.com/50/50.
And gee, the 50-50 jackpot here, $143,000. So Edmonton a huge lead in that department. Adam Henrique, that is an offside call. Frederick spilled inside the line.
Again, a little bit of juggling for Chris Knobloch. I mentioned Skinner getting that one shift up with the top guys. Now he's right back with Henrique and Frederick. And in the first period, I thought that was a pretty effective line too. They need to get something out of this line. Give this team a little bit of a spark.
In his previous Stanley Cup Finals, Henrique has scored a pair of goals in each of his series. Here's Skinner behind the net looking for his first of this Stanley Cup final. Rodriguez trying to clear. Frederick disrupts that. Good stick by Nurse. But now Tkachuk will flip it away. Bennett gets on the puck and he'll send it in. Florida starts to change. Rodriguez bounced off the puck by Frederick. Here's Kulak sending it in. Oilers change as McDavid checks back in. There's Mikkola from the front of his net. A backhand pass ripped wide for Hagee. Looking to get it back to Reinhart. Now Barkov behind the Edmonton net. Trying to get away from the checking of Kulak. into the slot. Disrupted by Draisaitl. Here's Barkov. Back to Forsling off the bench. Shooting. And gloved and held by Skinner.
So here's the challenge playing this Florida team. I mean, they're puck control. They can take over sections of the game. So you know you need something offensively, but now you're defending. And just the patience of Barkov gets the puck back. Good cycle down low, get to the open area. No panic as well. And best way of defending when you have a 2-0 lead is spending time in the offensive zone. And that's what this Florida team has feasted on throughout this playoff run again.
Enrique on the draw for the Oilers in his own zone against Anton Lundell, who wins that face-off. Listerinen behind the net. Lundell bounced there on a hit by Bouchard. Back around for Forsling. Watched by Kapanen. There's Marchand from the corner. Enveloped there by Wollman, and it's played ahead. Kapanen can't reach that. Listerinen hooks it back to Marchand. Back in they come. Lundell looks across in front. Listerinen with the deflection, and Skinner stopped that. This third line's been a real difference maker for Florida. Lundell, Listerinen, and Marchand in this series. Forsling striding back. Aaron Ekblad up off Tkachuk. Klingberg on the tape, and here's McDavid. Works it across, rink wide for, not too far for Ekholm, and behind Perry. And now Sam Bennett redlining in for the Panthers. Rodriguez let it go. Tkachuk along the boards. Gets knocked down by Perry. And he'll end up on top of the puck, and play is stopped.
Well, Marchand does a nice little chip pass and a curl back by Lundell, and throwing it to the net. No, you've got a body in there, as Listerinen does a nice job of getting that. He's just in a little bit too tight. So Skinner making sure that 5 holes closed. He gets a good help from his center iceman there to clear the front. And you mentioned there's the production from down in your lineup that's really been the difference maker. You think of how good Brad Marchand has been throughout this Stanley Cup final and right through the playoffs. That trio looks like they've been playing together a lot more than, 35 games together?
Listerinen now up to 19 points. Lundell has 18. There's a couple of potential, 2 more potential 20-point guys in the Florida lineup. One swung in on the backhand by Mikkola. Maurice this morning talked about that line sometimes becoming their top line because they're so sound defensively, and yet their production matches the other 2 top lines. David stepped into his man, puck just outside the line, and it'll get drifted in right on goal by Kulak. Flipped away to the Oiler line, and Klingberg back there. Moves it quickly, Nugent-Hopkins. Here's Frederick. Back to Nugent-Hopkins. In front! Skinner trying to go short side. And Bobrovsky with a tough stop. And Jeff Skinner's been around it so far tonight.
Well, he's had legs, he's had energy, he's had a spark. And he does a great job of just following this play across, diving to the hole there, and that quick release. Thought almost it. Listening to it loud, I thought it might have hit a bit of the post, as Nugent-Hopkins does a great job to keep it alive. And there's another one for Bobrovsky, just squeezing those arms, trying to make sure that one didn't sneak through. And it's clear that Chris Knoblauch has liked the game of Jeff Skinner as well, as he's getting a lot more ice time early on here in the second period.
Nugent-Hopkins, Skinner, Keane, and a face-off win. Klingberg for Wollman had to steer that away from Tkachuk. It goes wide. Skinner battles for it against Rodriguez. Comes out in front, knocks away by Kulikov, and out comes Florida. 3-on-2 the other way. Bennett cuts to the middle. He'll shoot it. Was it wrong? And Skinner with the save. As Schmidt was on the doorstep, and he gets ushered away from the front of the Oiler net.
Oh, I thought Schmidt knocked that out of midair, too, for that second rebound. And, you know, you're putting so much pressure, it creates a 3-on-2. Here's a little bit better coverage as everybody is taken off. But, yeah, on that rebound, Schmidt ends up getting that one out of midair, gets it right back towards Stuart Skinner. He's able to hold on there as, again, even up by 2, not afraid to jump up and join the rush of the Florida defense.
Nate Schmidt, one of the few in the Florida lineup, looking for his first Stanley Cup victory. And Marco bounce it in. Forsling will play it back out. Darnell Nurse with A.J. clearing slipstream up ahead. Janmark taken away by Gadjevich. Janmark trying to get it back. Forsling across. Chopped at that, and it bounces down into the corner. Fired around by Podkolzin. It's going to slide down the ice, but not enough for an icing call. Kulikov with Janmark there, trying to tie him up. Gadjevich helped out, and the former Whitby Warrior plays it back inside the Edmonton line. That fired in, and no icing on the play. Schmidt has to go back to get it. Schmidt is hounded as the puck comes back to the line for Ekholm. Bouchard sends that wide. Ekholm steps up, knocked it away from Verhaeghe. But pulls it around. On comes Draisaitl, dropping for Bouchard. Flipped it to the net, and it sticks to Bobrovsky with Podkolzin. A flyby in front, and he gets taken away from the front of the Florida net by Kulikov. Well, the Oilers pushing here. 9:04 remaining in the second period. 2-0 Panthers.
Go backward 15 seconds. Go forward 15.
Oilers still looking for an offensive spark halfway through regulation time, and you're watching a chess match trying to get a favorable Edmonton matchup.
You know, obviously on the road you don't get the last change, so you can't get a matchup that you want, but trying to get McDavid and Draisaitl away from Forsling and put an opportunity to get Kulikov and Schmidt, and they almost had it there. That's why it was a big save by Bobrovsky, because if your third or fourth line can have that matchup with the third pair of D and keep the pressure on in this second period, you can get a change and take advantage of it. They almost had the opportunity now, and clearly here you want your big guys out there, but look at the back end again. Forsling and Ekblad out there against the top guys.
Markov won that draw. Oilers have won 17 of 30 face-offs so far in the game. Puck did stay in. Look close at the line, but now Florida out. And Reinhart taps it down in behind the Oiler net. Up off Perry, and McDavid chasing after that. Bobrovsky has to play it away with McDavid lurking behind everybody at the Florida line.
Ekblad got just a little tug on him to slow him down, to not allow him to get busting through and maybe taking advantage of that.
Bouchard on the right side. That's off Perry. Draisaitl goes after it behind the net against Forsling. McDavid in support. That comes loose, and Draisaitl one-hands it to Ekholm. Bouchard trades spots. Puts it wide of the net, and Bobrovsky was moving on that play. But the puck didn't hit the target, and back the other way comes Reinhart. He'll look rink wide. Gustav Forsling shot is off McDavid. Here's Barkov centering it, and a good stick there by Skinner, who gloves down the puck and holds on.
You know, the game within the game. It happens, all the top players, the top matchups. Ekblad just a little bit late reacting, gets a tug there. Just stops McDavid for a split second, and a good read there by Bobrovsky. But that has been the frustration of that pairing. Forsling and Ekblad have done a great job, and then secondarily it's been Jones and Mikkola, and there hasn't been a whole lot of open ice for neither McDavid or Draisaitl throughout not just this game, but most of this series.
Last hit for McDavid, a minute 43 as Skinner holds on once again. In a small town where everyone knows everything, CI is starting over with Heart, Hustle, and Humor North of North. All episodes available for free on CBC Gem. Rich on that face-off. Florida takes it to the boards. Skips past Lundell. Klingberg. Ullman didn't see it coming. The pass back to the line. Got past Mikkola. Almost a break for Trent Frederick. There's Marchand. Backhanding it back into Edmonton territory around the boards. Listerina doesn't come up with it, but Mikkola with a shot that hit traffic, goes wide. A recovery there for Lundell. Back across, and now Evan Rodriguez on the ice. He put it on goal. And where is it? Finally a whistle. Skinner thought he had it.
I think he did, Chris, but I just don't think he knew it. And, you know, the one thing you don't want to do is make a sudden movement that it pops out. Is you got Rodriguez right on the doorstep. Again, just no time to make a play, just a quick shot to the front. Look at Skinner. He's not sure where it is. Lundell neither, and finally the whistle goes. I'm not sure, did it pop underneath? Still don't see it.
Yeah.
Wow. Got on Wallman's legs that he made the block, so he didn't want to make a movement to have that puck drop down there and create a scoring chance.
There's a Bennett face-off win and a shot blocked. Kulikov sends it in behind the net. Kachuk looking to retreat, but Kulak cuts it off and starts out. Up ahead off the stick to McDavid, back in Bennett with Rodriguez going to the net, and he looked across for Kachuk. In behind the net, it's knocked away from Rodriguez. Keane can't come up with it. Bounces far corner, Rodriguez. Sam Bennett. Back to the line for Smith. Nice pass for Kachuk. Sent that wide off the inboards. Nurse up ahead and off the bench, Pete Kulikov. Bennett on the forecheck. Oilers trying to escape their zone. Keane on the second try, able to dump it out. Reinhardt back in his own end of the rink, and Keane knocked down that clearing attempt. Gives Ekblad a ride along the inboards. Ekholm seals the boards. Kulikov now with Draisaitl bumping him, and the puck played away.
That was a big play for Kulikov. Didn't ice the puck. You see, he sprinted to the bench there knowing that's a matchup that he can't have. He made a good play defensively and then rocketed himself to the bench to make sure you get the change.
And McDavid tried to play that ahead, but nobody there to help him out. There's a hit on the forecheck by Verhaeghe, but now Podkolzin across. Back ahead off Podkolzin, deep into Florida ice. Ekblad up the boards, and it's played past Ekholm and down, and Bouchard going to win that race to get the icing call.
Yeah, he had good awareness there by Bouchard. He knew that Luostarinen was right there and might have been able to negate that icing. Not a big issue, though, for Florida, as you got players in that 45 to 57 seconds, but it's your top guys. It's a combination of your best defensive players, and you still got your best defensive pair.
Leon Draisaitl without a shot attempt in the game so far. With under 5.5 to go here in the second period of Game 6. Perry and Ekholm have a word before this face-off.
Well, and all this time basically takes away anybody from being exactly tired. I think they're making sure the right players are on, and now this is going to be a move. Yeah, you know what? Mission accomplished. Anything. Yep. If you're Marchand, he jumped on there and stayed there. Now you had Reinhardt had been a minute, Ekblad 57 seconds, Barkov 46, but now there's been about 35 seconds of rest.
Off the draw, puck loose and chopped out by Florida. Off the stick to Luostarinen. Will work in. Florida gets their change. Marchand back on. Will skeet around behind the net. Lundell trying to tie up McDavid. And now Draisaitl takes over. And unable to get loose. Checked there by Lundell. Guy they call Baby Barkov with another stout defensive play. That's too far for Ekholm. Ekholm intercepts that pass.
Marchand took the legs of Draisaitl. He went down awkwardly, landed on his head as he was going on.
Yeah, a little slow to get to the bench after that. Under 5 to go here in period number 2. Skinner with a nice play to turn it over. It's woven in, and that shot blocked. Ricochets in front. Across the centering pass. Skinner tied up by Piccolo. Skinner battling along the end boards. Janmark in to try and pry it loose. And it's flipped away by Tkachuk. Klingberg across for Jake Wallman. He'll dump it back in. Wide and out of play. Or into the glove, excuse me, Bobrovsky. Here's a look at the block on the Wallman shot by Matthew Tkachuk.
Been a strong second period on the part of the Edmonton Oilers, but that doesn't mean that the captain, Connor McDavid, and at times Leon Draisaitl aren't frustrated as the Oilers look for that opening goal, and that's where Corey Perry comes into play. The 40-year-old urging on his 29 and 28-year-old line mates and teammates to continue to push forward to try and get that opening goal of the game for Edmonton.
Perry, the only player in the game with more than 2 shots. He has 3. The Oilers 2 shots away with under 4 to go here in the second period. Bumped up by Nugent Hopkins. On a line with Keane and Kapanen. Don't want to belabor the point, but there's a Rodriguez pass in front. Putting McDavid and Draisaitl together is a lot easier when Zach Hyman's on the next line coming up with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But that is not possible in this Stanley Cup final.
No, and it's really been evident, has it been in the last 2 games specifically. When Florida gets those lead and tightens things up, it's so hard to get that open ice, and Zach's the kind of guy who can create it.
Barkov around, there's Reinhart in front, Barkov, and he slid that wide with Skinner down. Close call for the captain. Barkov looking for his first of the Stanley Cup final. Verhaeghe will come across here for Kulikov. Flipping it into the corner, Barkov. Watched there by Henrique. Now Verhaeghe sends that up off Skinner, big rebound in front, scores! Sam Reinhart doubles up. And the hole is now 3 goals for Edmonton.
Well, this shift is all about Barkov. He was just such a handful at every aspect of this shift. Nice job coming in there by Henrique. Maybe saved the goal. But now just the patience of Reinhart. Throw it to an area. That's a rebound that you just can't make if you're Stuart Skinner. You got to try to control that, and then Barkov on the end slides it right across off the skates in tight, and Reinhart started this night off with the game's first goal, and he's made it 3-0 off of a long shift in the offensive zone where that line was able to cycle and keep the play alive about 4 or 5 times.
Now 5 goals in the last 4 for Sam Reinhart. Trying to add a Stanley Cup to a 4 Nations victory in February. Here's McDavid looking to get it back. The Oilers find themselves in another 3-0 hole here with just over 2 minutes remaining in the second.
Yeah, and the anxiousness just continues to grow, and the exhilaration you could tell from this fan base here. But this is Florida Panthers hockey, the end of a long shift, a couple of won battles along the boards, get to the inside at the front of the net, and it's Barkov, the captain, fakes the shot, freezes Skinner, and makes this a 3-goal game.
Ninth of the playoffs for Sam Reinhart. And now 30 career Stanley Cup playoff goals. And to this point, no answers on that Edmonton bench.
Yeah, and you remember the 3-goal comeback, and what Paul Murray said was his team stopped playing. They weren't as aggressive. They weren't staying on top of the puck in the offensive zone. Well, that hasn't been the case here in Game 6.
And Mark trying to dash in, but Bobrovsky covers that. And Mark draws a crowd after that.
Well, this is where Florida does their thing as well. You can see Tkachuk's chirping, try to get somebody to take a shot, maybe try to get an Oiler who's frustrated to take a penalty, and that's something, it's hard to resist, but it's something you just can't get into right now if you're an Oiler. Don't fall into that trap of playing their game. You know, you're frustrated, you're behind again, and you want to take a shot at him, and that's exactly what he wants you to do. So you have to resist that temptation.
Barkov and Verhaeghe get the assists on that third Florida goal. Watch the true story of Princess Delta Dawn, the first Indigenous pro wrestler in Japan. Catch the documentary Delta Dawn for free on CBC Gem, Canada's home for streaming. Off the face-off win, Seth Jones off Bennett. Sliding down, but it hit Bennett on the Florida side of center, icing.
No mistakes left for Stuart Skinner, and quite frankly, I'm sure Kelly Rudy would say, this is one all day. You got to control that. Look at this. There's no problem if you just absorb that into your body, and it just looked like he wasn't aware of where the threat was, couldn't quite get a hold of it, and Barkov made him pay.
They scored 3 on 17 shots against Skinner in Game 4. They have 3 on 18 shots here tonight. There's Draisaitl back in, tried to drop it, and McDavid all tied up by Rodriguez.
That's been the night, hasn't it? Draisaitl draws 2 guys to him, so he has no open ice. McDavid's trying to curl across. Rodriguez has him tied up. There just hasn't been any open space for them to be creative with the puck.
Well, they say they're at their best when their backs are against the wall. They are firmly against the wall now. Final minute, second period, looking for some kind of spark before it's done. Bouncing in deep, Kane behind the net. There is Barkov getting a stick on it. Came loose in front, but Reinhart there to take it away. Reinhart feeds it in. Verhaeghe, first man to it, back in front. Reinhart in too deep. Hurts behind the net, feeds back for Forsling. Back around to the near side, and Jones will step up. Here's Seth Jones. Far side. Around towards Jones, but the Oilers will send that the length of the ice. And an icing call, 15.7 left here in the second.
Well, that look says it all. Here's the play. You think an offensive, take a little bit of a tip. Rodriguez just stays with his man. McDavid unable to curl away and get any open ice. It's been the story of the game so far. It hasn't been a whole lot of positives from that top line. As you mentioned, Chris Knobloch put them together really early in the first period. Hasn't been able to take advantage of any of the matchups.
Draisaitl and Lundell, who wins it back to Jones. Nikola makes sure it gets deep. Draisaitl on it, but the period's winding down. Lusterinen back in behind the net, and the fans will roar their approval. We're through 2. Game 6, second straight period. The Oilers outshoot the Panthers 10-9. But it's the home side that enhances their lead. On the
Finance
late
cellular.
goal
2 of 4 bars. Edmonton.
by
Track position. Go,
Reinhardt.
go forward.
From
Go backward
Barkov
15
to
seconds. Go forward 15. Speed off.
Reinhardt's second of the night. Game 6 with the cup in the building. And the Panthers in control. Our second intermission with Ron McLean and company is upcoming.
First goal of the hockey game, but despite that, still looking for the icebreaker, as Chris Cuthbert would like to say, in order to put some kind of pressure on Paul Maurice, Matthew Tkachuk, and the Florida Panthers. They do have a shot here as we get ready for period number 3 of Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
In the record for most time leading in a final, the 87 Oilers, 250 minutes and 4 seconds. If Florida holds the lead through this third period, they will eclipse that mark. But the Oilers have 20 minutes to change the narrative, starting with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry, Bouchard, and Ekholm. Around it goes, and Verhaeghe jumps on that. Here's Carter Verhaeghe in behind the Edmonton net. Cycles it back towards Barkov. Tied up there by Bouchard. Ekholm trying to create a little space for Bouchard, and now Perry up ahead. A bouncing puck for Draisaitl. Through for McDavid. Back to Ekholm, and his stick got lifted. And up comes Barkov the other way into the shift. They might have had an odd man rush going back into the Edmonton zone. Flipped away to the Florida line. Mikkola red line it in. Bouchard up the boards. Kapanen took a whack at it. Mikkola there. Now Evander Kane on the move. There's Kane swallowing through center. Kane to work. Kapanen along the boards. Puts it back. Jake Walman right on. Nugent Hopkins back to Walman again. Or Klingberg for Walman. Sending it in behind the net. Klingberg advances. That puck high off the glove of Bobrovsky behind the net. Kapanen with the retrieval. Trying to spin away from Lundell. Fed back to the line, and Klingberg unable to hold it. Walman back. Klingberg off his skate. Bennett working against him. This crowd anticipating another cup celebration. Matthew Tkachuk's away. Up ahead, Bennett. Sam Bennett over the line. 6 goals in the last 6 games for Bennett. Got it again. Centers. Rodriguez can't pull the trigger. And out comes Edmonton. Skinner looks across. After it goes Janmark. Bennett plays it around and waiting for it. There's Kulak. That went off Rodriguez wide. Ricochets out.
Well, no tentative start here for Florida either. With the 3-goal lead, not sitting back, continuing to be aggressive and clinch. They've learned their lessons from the comeback before, and even, we think last year, losing games 4 through 6. They look like a much more aggressive and confident team here, trying to get this one to the finish line.
That's the difference from last year when they saw the 3-game lead evaporate. Paul Maurice said the pulse rate a lot lower this year in these big games. Forsling can't get it through. McDavid was trying to break in case Edmonton came up with it. Now they do, and now he'll break. And here he goes with Colson driving the lane. Dropped off. Draisaitl holds. Back in behind the net for McDavid. Centers. It goes behind Ekholm. Draisaitl spins it across. A pass for McDavid. Feeds it back to Ekholm. And the shot kicked away. Good left pad save. That time by Bobrovsky. Bouchard. McDavid. And his shot ramps off a stick high. And they still have yet to solve Sergei Bobrovsky.
Body Armor Hydration Drink with electrolytes, natural flavors, natural sweeteners, and no colors from artificial sources. Body Armor, the official sports hydration partner of the NHL.
Well, Sergei Bobrovsky here, the Rebound is there for the taking. Look at the box out in front, though. Perry can't get to the front of the net. Barkov's back in the slot. And, you know, once you finally do get some open ice, it's been very difficult to get inside and hunt down those rebounds when they're there.
Off the draw, Florida controls. Mikula and Jones trying to work it ahead. Mikula gets it down into the Oilers zone. Here's Marchand. One of 3 Panthers with at least 5 goals in the Stanley Cup final. The only other team to do that, the 1955 Detroit Red Wings. Got 6 from Alex Delvecchio, 5 from Gordie Howe, and Ted Lindsay. So in rarefied air in so many different categories. Nate strips away. He'll bump it inside the line. Kapanen tried to play it back, but Panthers get on that, and it's Kulikov at the line on his backhand. Shoveling it into the corner, laid back out. Up the hit, Frederick take it down at center. Mitchell dispatch it back into Edmonton Ice. Nosek on it quickly. And Darnell Nurse around for Skinner. Able to work down ahead. Nugent Hopkins trying to get after it. On it to the backhand that Bobrovsky gets a piece of. Good hustle by Nugent Hopkins. Absorbs the hit from Nosek. But Florida clears the zone. Skinner back past 5 minutes of this third. He'll weave through. Here's Skinner. Knocked off balance by Bennett. Or by Tkachuk as Bennett sends it into the corner. Sam Bennett's on it. He can't get it past the point, but now it's Tkachuk. And Echo intercepts that with Bennett almost loose. Mikula steps up. Rodriguez behind the net. Evan Rodriguez cycles that back for Bennett. Reinhardt's come on. Taken out by McDavid. Now the Oilers on the move and out. Draisaitl trying to spring McDavid. And Perry back to McDavid. And he tipped that just wide. Nice passing play for the Oilers to generate a chance. McDavid trying to feed the point. Now sends it in behind. Draisaitl there. Flipped across the goal mouth. Looks like he might have been trying to bank that off the shoulder of Bobrovsky.
I think Bobrovsky ducked his head, too, to make sure there wouldn't be any contact.
Right back inside the Oiler line. Pass Bouchard for Hagee. Turns. Coming up. Shot. And that just missed. What a chance for Lundell. Here comes Putz Olsen digging in. Sharp angle shot. Stopped in a big rebound. Out for Lundell. We're going to go end to end here. Marchand's in. Marchand. Hey, shot it just wide. Almost another highlight play by Brad Marchand. In behind the net, it's Wallman. Pocket picked by Lusterinen. Way to Lusterinen for Lundell and back. Listen to this crowd. 7 minutes into the third, that shot blocked in front. And out comes Brown. And Mark can't get loose, chopped off his stick, and Gus Forsling will play it back in and around. All the way to Kane. Up for Brown. Nugent Hopkins back, Darnell Nurse. Oilers working ahead to Kapanen. Flooding the zone, Kasperi Kapanen's in. Centering pass and Reinhardt back defensively. Nate Schmidt after. Kapanen missed him with a hit. Kept in by Kane. To the near side, Reinhardt. Back to Kulikov. Now Schmidt. Up the boards off Barkov and out. Clock's rolling. We're 8 minutes into the third. Draisaitl wanted it and got it, and here's Draisaitl over the line. McDavid tripped up. No call. Still no power play in the game. It'll be Bouchard firing it back down. Barkov will send it away. Guy settled to the red line, plays it back in. McDavid with the retrieval. Perry's in front. Connor McDavid. Back to Bouchard. His shot, and that hit traffic. He had glanced off Perry and takes a whack at it. Jones clears. Back in McDavid, and offside called at the line.
More start to this period. Both sides trying desperately. The Edmonton Oilers trying to get back in this game from midair. Can't quite get a stick on it. Now Marchand, how about him in this series? Another stick tap. He gets a great scoring chance. And then McDavid driving through. Knocked down. Tried to get up to make a play. Nothing there.
In Game 7 for Edmonton last year. The difference, a Sam Reinhart goal. And Reinhart's outscored the Oilers 2-0 here tonight. The 3-goal Florida lead, 11-11 remaining. Rodriguez took that draw instead of Bennett, and there's Mikkola sending it in. As he deflects center, trying to get it to Bennett. Comes back for Mikkola. Rodriguez on the far side. Bennett taken away by Klingberg. And John Klingberg up ahead, Kapanen. Sent in on Bobrovsky. Paul Maurice said they would not play with any dread that it would have to be won here tonight. And they have not played nervous in any way. There's a shot by Holman. Turned into the corner by Bobrovsky.
This is anything but a tentative third period trying to protect the lead, isn't it? I mean, they've got their ears pinned back. They continue to attack. They continue to pinch. Keep the pressure on.
Full throttle McDavid. Trying to get into the zone. Slowed up by Forsling, who has done a masterful job against the best player in the world in this series. Back to the line, Bouchard can't hold it. Verhaeghe's got a break. Carter Verhaeghe's in. And Skinner out beyond the blue to make that stop. And surprisingly, that's the first shot of the third period for Florida. Past 10 minutes of the third.
By Instacart, the winning way to get groceries delivered. And it was Game 7 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Final. Sam Reinhart delivered the game-winning and Stanley Cup-winning goal for the Florida Panthers. And tonight it was that same Sam Reinhart who opened the scoring for the Panthers, and he has closed the scoring to this point. That made it a 3-0 lead, which is where we stand with time ticking under 10 minutes in the third.
Fourth line out for the Panthers as Schmidt sends it back in. And all three looking to play in a deciding Stanley Cup championship game as that puck sails out of play.
Well, as the clock just ticks away, you know, you feel, guys were talking about the frustration level. You just try to find something, but you've got a team in Florida right now that has learned their lessons. They've learned how to play in these types of games right now, and they haven't given the Edmonton Oilers any open ice. They have been an efficient bunch and continue to even pinch and be aggressive here up 3-0.
Counting tonight, last 4 games for Connor McDavid in this building, 1 assist. They get the matchup they want against McDavid, and they've been able to hold them off. Bouchard up off Perry and back into the Florida zone. Ekblad over, and there's Reinhart out at center, knocked down, but Perry comes across to take it away from Carter Verhaeghe.
I think there's again another shift from the top line that just got absolutely nothing. No offensive pressure, no offensive ice time. They're back defending, now a change, and if you're not going to get production from anyone else, this game is going to go away pretty quickly.
Mikkola back and hit the official, stayed in the zone. And it's swung back by Kapanen in behind the net. And Klingberg advances. Kept in at the line, Kane, flipped that wide. And Marchand just gets rid of it. Rolling right on to Skinner.
Because that's one, I don't even think Bobrovsky saw that shot originally. He reacted when it hit the boards behind him.
Under 8 left, the turnover. Here's Tkachuk, Bennett, stopped by Skinner, trying to jam it in. Now flipped ahead and does get out to center after the turnover almost opened the door for a 4th Florida goal. There's Schmidt playing it off the stick of Rodriguez wide. Tkachuk knocks that down along the boards. Frederick flattens him. And now out comes Henrique. Brent Frederick rolling it through, unable to connect with Skinner. Nate Schmidt, Matthew Tkachuk. Barkov off the bench. Just wide of the net, so an icing call and a face-off in Florida territory.
Boy, the turnovers have been the problem all night for the Edmonton Oilers. A couple of goals off them. Here's another one. Quick little release there by Bennett. Nice save there by Skinner to get it, but it's going one way and then all of a sudden back the other. That's how the game started off. And now you've got Stuart Skinner with an offensive zone face-off going off for the extra attacker.
So 6 on 5 with 7 minutes to go. Oilers looking for one to try and light the comeback fuse. Bouchard for McDavid. Forsling there as he always is. Now it's Ekblad. Forsling ahead for Hagee. And it stayed in. Nurse saved it for a moment. Now Barkov swings it across. Empty net, scores. Hat-trick goal for Sam Reinhart. His first ever in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Four Nations winner and on his way to a 2nd consecutive Stanley Cup. Reinhart 3 in the game, 10 in the postseason.
Yeah, what a time to go on a 4-game streak, and he just continues to be able to make plays. It's Barkov again through Nugent Hopkins. There's the frustration for Perry. Yeah, you can't blame the Oilers for the early pull, but the party started a little bit early, 6:34 to go, but this building is electric with what's coming next. Well, Chris, you talk about guys that have injuries at the time. He went 5 games with goalless and didn't really look like himself. Even the first 2 games of this series, Reinhart didn't do much, and he has exploded in the last 4 games. 6 goals, 3 assists, and none bigger here than Game 6 trying to clinch 2nd straight Stanley Cup.
2 goals in last year's final. We mentioned the series winner, but just 2. Here's 3 tonight, 6. As he matches Marchand's total in the final. And the beach party is probably starting in Fort Lauderdale.
10th of the playoffs, scored by number 13, Sam Reinhart.
There's an icing call against Edmonton. While we have the opportunity, a salute to our production and technical crew. many of whom won the Canadian Screen Award recently for their work on last year's cup-clinching game. So our hats off to all downstairs in the truck. And a happy birthday to our statistician, Jason Murdoch, who comes up with all the key stats throughout the playoffs. Been a dominant performance here by the defending Stanley Cup champions.
It really has, and Paul Maurice said he felt his team was getting better with each game throughout this final, the 3 overtimes early, but Sam Reinhart, when it matters most, the hat trick on the night.
All right, friend.
Glove night here in Sunrise. Phil Pritchard shining up that beautiful piece of silverware.
Amazing to think Phil had to put it back into the case 3 times last year in the same scenario, and finally in Game 7. Here in Game 6, you got Stuart Skinner again back on the Oiler bench.
6 attackers out once again. Off the draw. It comes outside the line. Bouchard, red line, right back in. McDavid first one after it. Comes up with it. Twists away from traffic and back to Ekholm. And Bouchard. Matthias Ekholm for McDavid. Watched by Barkov. Draisaitl behind the net. Perry at the side of the cage. Nugent Hopkins in front. There's Bouchard. There's not much there, and Ekholm can't get it through. Even with an extra man, there just doesn't seem to be many holes. There's a puck blocked in front by Ekblad. Along the boards, back to Ekblad. In Verhaeghe, and guess who? Rolling it back, and in! And it's another for Sam Reinhart. The night of his life.
Well, Sam, there aren't many more moments that will be as memorable as this. He started things off with just a brilliant play individually, jumping up off of a turnover, makes the great play at the net. On the doorstep here, Captain Sasha Barkov off his skate, and then a couple of empty netters. They count just as much. You're trying to get this thing to the end zone. And back-to-back as he's falling down, his 4th of the night to make it a 5-0 game.
11 goals, 23 points in the playoffs now. He had 16 last year. 5-0, 5 minutes left.
His 4th of the game, 11th of the playoffs, scored by number 13,
There's a loose puck in front, and the Oilers get one back. Vasily Podkolzin puts the loose puck in to break the Bobrovsky shutout bid.
Well, and something that they really haven't been able to do is take advantage of any rebounds in front. And this one, just the battle going, looks like it hit off Jones originally, and Podkolzin, a bittersweet feeling. You know, maybe a little too late there, but he does a nice job of tracking it down. Bobrovsky can't hold on to it. Wouldn't be surprised if Stuart Skinner maybe comes out again here, Chris, too. Don't worry about putting anything, making the number bigger. You got to try to find a way to get something here to stay alive.
3rd of the postseason for Podkolzin. Remaining as it's played back inside the Edmonton line. Janmark, watched by Bennett. Out from Edmonton as Klingberg rolls it along the boards. Comes loose for Schmidt. Red line dumped right back in by Rodriguez, and quick change for Florida. 4 minutes on the clock. For Verhaeghe, this has been the dominant line tonight. And now up to 68 points for the top line. There's a turnover, and Lundell in. He sent it wide. Let's skip past Marchand looking for it. The Bennett line was 60 points. The Lundell line had 57 at last count. So lines 1, 2, and 3 have all played an enormous role in this run to a second consecutive Stanley Cup victory.
And this has been an impressive game on home ice, knowing at the buzzer the Stanley Cup could be at center ice. They've brought an incredible performance, both offensively and defensively.
Chuck through for Rodriguez. Bouchard there. Up on the boards, and Mikkola will slap it back behind the net. Mikkola. Ekholm. Mikkola gets it again. This time he does get it deep. And play called, and Tkachuk and Kane were involved, and let's find out who's going off.
Evander Kane's going to end this game with a 10-minute misconduct. Tkachuk, who you know will get under your skin and engage at different times, he's not about to engage now. On a night that hasn't seen a whole lot of penalties called, I think that's just the officials saying, let's get this one to the end line.
Talk about playoff history. The last player with 4 goals in a Stanley Cup final, I think you've heard of him, Maurice Rocket Richard.
Wow.
1957 against the Boston Bruins. Not sure if Dick Irvin phoned that in, but I'm sure he remembers that well. What a night for Sam Reinhart. Under 2 minutes remaining. And Mark pushes it back. the 2024-25 NHL season. They're knocking on Dynasty's doorstep. The Florida Panthers back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Convincing win in Game 5 to bring it home, and an even more convincing win to clinch the cup, this time in 6 on home ice.
Well, you think of the effort to get to the Stanley Cup final 3 consecutive years, the journey after losing to the Vegas Golden Knights, the drama of Game 7 last year, and Chris trying to avoid that same drama to have to go back to Edmonton this time for a Game 7. They probably had their best game of this series.
Brad Marchand, such a huge part of the success story for the Panthers, who take out Tampa Bay early, survive a scare against Toronto to win in 7, eliminate Carolina, and now win back-to-back. And once again in the same building, the same handshake line.
Yeah, it's got to be a feeling that is ingrained in your mind from last year. And both games, the top guys, McDavid and Draisaitl, unable to get anything done offensively. 1 assist in the Game 7. And of course, Game 6 here. We all saw the emotion that last year's loss provided. It can't feel any
now,
better.
NHL News. Panthers prioritize first-time winners in Stanley Cup handoff.
Corey
Attachment.
Perry, who played better than ever in these playoffs and still is in the runner-up spot, as has become that storyline through playing with Dallas and Tampa, the Oilers a couple of times.
That's the amazing thing about this journey, Chris. It's this feeling erases all the good that you had and that you built throughout the year. It's so hard to swallow. And for Florida, you think how difficult it is to climb that mountain again after winning last year, to get back here again for the third. That's quite an accomplishment in itself.
Paul Maurice has said he's not crazy about the handshake line, but out there to salute the players on the Oiler team. Sylvain Lefebvre, the defensive coach, congratulating Brad Marchand. What a night for Reinhart. We'll talk about a 4-goal performance for a long time. Let's head down to ice level and Gene.
Yeah, one last squirt of water here for Sam Reinhart. I'm sure it'll be something else you might be drinking a little bit later. Well, what did you make of how today went?
I like their composure. I mean, I think they had some good jump early on. We learned some lessons. You know, we stayed on the gas, put a foot on the pedal, and obviously the result speaks for itself.
Yeah, what did you think of your night? I know it's not about you, but you were a big part of what happened tonight and what happened throughout the playoffs.
I mean, we've had guys stepping up all postseason long. That's just the kind of group we had, and I was able to find the net a couple times.
I know it's only been maybe a minute and a half, but how does Cup 2 feel compared to what it felt like to win Cup 1?
Just as good as the first one.
And is this the beginning of more 3 straight finals, 2 cup victories. Do you think you have the team to keep something like this going?
I'll tell you what, when we won last year, we weren't thinking about this one yet. We're going to be thinking about this one for the next little bit and see where we go from there.
Sam, thank you. Enjoy and have a great offseason.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You know, Paul Maurice made a statement earlier in the playoffs that this was a better team. It was a bold statement to say that about a team that hadn't won, comparing it to a team that had, but I think we saw evidence of it here in this series.
Yeah, and you look at Gadjevich there with the head coach. He said that's a 4th line that you heard Paul Maurice talk about glowingly and how important it is. So your top guys have to do their job. Bobrovsky, let's face it, was the best goaltender in the series as well. So your goaltending was great, but it does take everyone. And I think the additions too by Bill Zito, you think of Marchand and the influence that he had on this series, Seth Jones, you know, those are players that I think really motivated the guys who had been there last year and won to dig in and fight even harder to give them the opportunity to experience it.
Roberto Luongo celebrating again. He drummed it up early. He's a special advisor to the general manager, Bill Zito, who made the 2 biggest moves at the trade deadline to catapult his team to a 2nd straight cup. Seth Jones, Brad Marchand, both huge additions. And what a postseason for Sam Bennett, who led the charge with 15 goals. First guy in over 100 years with 15 playoff goals who had never scored 30 in a regular season. And some of these players are free agents, but you wonder how anxious they are to leave.
It's not a place that you'd be wanting to leave very quickly. I mean, what an experience it is to share with your teammates. Sam Bennett will have some options, though, wouldn't he? I mean, what a glorious playoff he has had, and the big games. Maybe
right back onto the ice and the celebration with Gene.
Okay, Chris and Craig, Matthew, another cup. Did you feel like the road to this one was similar as the first one?
Not for myself personally. It was I didn't think this was possible, and you know, I could have just personally could have just like threw in the towel and just got myself fixed up and missed out. There were days that I wanted to do that, and I knew this group was too special and we had a chance, and I just am so lucky to be on this team with this group of guys, and just a special group, and we got to be a dynasty now. It's 3 years in a row finals, 2 championships. This team is so special, and I just Stanley Cup champion. This never gets old.
So is it too soon to ask you what the injury was?
I'm going to enjoy this one tonight. You guys, people will find out, I'm sure.
Hey, listen, I want to ask you, on media day, you said something about when you arrived here, you went to get a bite to eat, and someone said, that, you know, what do you do? And you said, I'm a hockey player. And I think he said you must.
Yeah, he's like, you must be terrible. Yeah. But I hope that effing guy is watching tonight.
What about your family? Last one, I know you. I mean, your brother's here, your dad's here, your mom's here, your sister. And what you think of them and their support?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here without them. I mean, I've got an unbelievable support system at home with my fiance here. I'm sure she wanted to kill me a few days when I was hurt. And then my parents, I would not be here without them. The support of my brother and my sister and everybody. And they're all here tonight, and I'm so happy that they are here. And I owe everything to them. And this is just so special.
Matthew, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you could see how he raised his game as he felt healthier as the playoffs went on, particularly the last 4 games of the Stanley Cup final. The Conn Smythe Trophy is on, and I think everybody knows it's going to go to a player on the winning team this year.
Intriguing, though. There's a lot of good candidates, isn't there? And then Sam Reinhart throws his name in the hat there as well.
Well, let's find out from all those good candidates who the Conn Smythe winner is going to be.
Please direct your attention to the ice for the presentation of the Conn Smythe Trophy to the most valuable player of the 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Good evening, South Florida. It feels like we just did this. Let's congratulate the Oilers and the Panthers for a terrific rematch of the Stanley Cup Final. The Conn Smythe Trophy goes to the most valuable player in the playoffs. It's only fitting that this year it goes to the leading goal scorer, Sam Bennett.
$15 goals for Sam Bennett, 13 of them on the road. Like Sam Reinhart, a Four Nations Cup winner, a Stanley Cup winner, and a Conn Smythe Trophy to pad the stats as he goes to free agency.
Just built for the playoff style of hockey, isn't he? And just the way that he was able to find open ice. You think about Florida going 10-3 on the road, and a lot of it has to do with those 13 goals from number 9.
He did say, though, a singular focus for Sam Bennett throughout this. There's only one trophy that any of these players really want to get their hands on. So the time is now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stanley Cup.
The Stanley Cup is the most iconic trophy in sports and the most difficult to win. And while it may be difficult to win once, to do it twice in a row is almost impossible. You can't win it twice in a row unless you have commitment, leadership, passion, a great fan base, and a great organization, starting with Vinny and Teresa Viola, Matt Caldwell, Bill Zito, Paul Maurice. And again, you fans have proven that hockey works in the sunshine. Alexander Barkov, let's do it again.
The first captain since Wayne Gretzky in '87 and '88 to hoist the cup 2 years in a row on home ice. Greg, Paul Maurice said the other day, when the captain of your team wins the Selke, it determines the identity of your team, and what a great defensive team and champion this is. And Nate Schmidt, first to get the cup, one of the first-timers.
Yeah, I've been in the Stanley Cup final before, of course, lost the last time, and always loved the decision-making veteran guys who get an opportunity to do something that's just so special.
In his 12th year, bought out, got a new lease on life, got his game back, and now he's got a cup. So who's next among the first-timers? Of course, Seth Jones. What a remarkable role he played here in his 12th year. And talk about a new lease on life.
Wow, what a difference maker all throughout his time here, too. And he said, you know, I needed to change my game. I needed to get back motivated and get the details of my game back. He came to the perfect place. Got a lot of good role models around him. And what would the Florida Panthers have been without Aaron Ekblad in the lineup, and having Jones just such a big difference maker and a huge minute muncher.
Thomas Nosek, who puck over glass, was a key play early in this playoff, but they rallied around him, and after stints with Vegas and Boston, he gets to the ultimate prize. Let's head down to the ice and rejoin Gene.
Well, I know coming to Florida gave you a lift, but what was it like to lift the Stanley Cup?
I honestly have no idea. It's been a long year. These guys are unbelievable here. This organization's unbelievable. My teammates, the coaching staff, Bill Zito believe in me and gave me a chance. So this is fucking best day of my life.
Well said. What are the emotions like when you have something happen that you've been waiting for your whole life?
It's hard to explain. Every day you go to work, you try to get better. And, you know, this is the ultimate goal. This is what you do. You think about as a kid every single day, playing in the driveway. And I don't know what else to say.
I'll ask you to say one more thing. You mentioned prior to the start of this series that it was a little easier to get used to the beaches than it was the system of Florida, but your coaches and everybody said, just keep doing it, you'll figure it out, you'll learn, and it'll work out. What did you think of that advice?
It was great advice. I can't give the coaching staff enough credit. I did a lot of video when I got here, completely different system from what I'm used to. But they said at the end of the day, everyone here, you get to trust your instincts, be aggressive in what you do. And that's what we did. Each guy trusts each other, they trust the system, and that's how it works.
Seth, thank you and congratulations.
Thanks.
David, Elliott, over to you.
All right, thanks so much. We're with Nate Schmidt, undrafted, 5th team, and here you are, a Stanley Cup champ. Put it into words.
This is why you play the game, man. It's amazing to be able to be here. I felt like I had a chance when I was in Vegas, but we fell short. You just never know when you're going to be back. I feel like you grinded a lot of years, and now you're back here playing with this team. That's just, man, I can't even tell you what that lap is like when you have that thing. It's phenomenal. You know, just the family, the friends, the people that just stuck with you through everything. It's amazing, man. I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Did you have any idea that Barkov was coming to you?
No. I didn't. A couple of guys said, "Hey, Schmidt, just keep your heads up." And all of a sudden, he looked right at me, and I kind of froze. I didn't think he was coming to me. But they said, "Schmidt, it's your turn. Take your time and just enjoy the moment." Man, that's the best lap. That's the best lap I've ever done in hockey.
Hey, you're one of the nicest guys in hockey. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Nate. Let's get it over to Chris and Craig.
Well, Chris, what's really interesting about who has come after each other, it's been guys who haven't been in the lineup. Samoskevich, you had the 4th line, you had Nosek. I mean, that tells you an awful lot. Balinskis hasn't played this whole series. Tells you a lot about the camaraderie and the family about this team. Everybody pulling, everybody helping. and that leadership is really on display right now.
The heartbeat of the whole team is with Gene Principe.
Yeah, Craig and Chris, they just said the heartbeat of the team, that being you. I know there's lots of leaders. You shouldn't be so surprised. What is your role like? Because sometimes numbers are nice, but there are more important parts to your game that help this team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do everything as good as possible, and whether it's defending or being in offensive zone or whatever. So I have an unbelievable team around me, so I'm really lucky with that. So they help me a lot with everything, and we do everything together. We learn all together. We win together.
I wanted to ask you also, you have the role of deciding with maybe help on who gets the cup. After you, what was the decision-making process?
Yeah, we decided together that the guys who haven't won yet, they're gonna go first, and because it's amazing. Like, we know how nice it feels to lift the cup, so they get to go first, and then everyone else.
Appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
David and Elia, back to you.
All right, and we're with the Conn Smythe winner as well as a two-time Stanley Cup champ, Four Nations champ. It's been a heck of a year. Life's good if you're Sam Bennett. Tell us what this moment's like for you.
It's really hard to describe. I mean, this is way harder than I thought it would be to win, and to win twice was. I mean, we put in so much work for this, and I'm so proud of this group. I mean, it's incredible the team we have here. So I'm so proud of all the guys, and I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. I don't know how else to describe it.
So I want you to turn. Look who's got the cup.
That's awesome. That guy is the biggest dog I think I've ever played with. He's fucking incredible. Sorry for my language, but
don't worry.
This guy, the best leader. He leads by example. He speaks up. He's fearless out there. And I've been telling him this whole playoffs, we're following you, and we followed him this whole playoff run. It was incredible.
And it's coming to you. And Sam, one last thing. You guys started every series on the road. In fact, you started with 2 losses in the second round versus Toronto. How did you guys have the wherewithal, and you particularly, 13 goals scored away from this arena? How were you guys able to have the mental capacity to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it this whole playoffs is you know, we're such a tight group, and we spend so much time together in the room. I know everyone says that, but we truly are. And
volume 100% adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value. Swipe up or down to select the custom action. Then double tap to activate.
I mean, we really love each other as a group, and I mean, that's the only real explanation I can give you.
Congratulations. Enjoy it, Sam.
Thank you so much.
Gene, to you.
Yeah, David, I just saw a fan say I love you to you. Did you ever think anywhere other than Boston you might see that kind of love?
Definitely didn't expect that here, ever. But it's incredible how quick things can change. It makes you appreciate every moment. These days go by very fast, and you got to appreciate them, so it's pretty special right now.
I was kind of watching you as the cup was headed to you. What were you thinking? Because you've had it before, but not for long.
Yeah, it's a feeling you can't describe. It's been a long time and a lot of ups and downs. And considering where we are right now and where the season started, I never could have imagined this. It's a pretty special feeling.
What did you make of all the rat stuff that you were a part of? I mean, it seemed like you've been here your whole career, and not just since the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest things about this group is they embrace everyone right away, and your family as soon as you walk in the room. And you know, the rat stuff just happened to kind of come together naturally, and you know, it's a kind of a rep that our team got pretty early on. You know, and it stuck with us all the way through. And one of the greatest things, we don't really think a whole lot about the outside noise. It's all about what we believe in the group, and came together.
Brad, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
14 years between Stanley Cups for Brad Marchand. This building's even better than Game 7 last year. There were a lot of Oiler fans that came here, and a lot of Florida fans that didn't think their night would turn out right. But it's a full house of Panther celebrants tonight, and nobody should celebrate more than
number 13.
But it's a common message, isn't it? About family, togetherness. Everybody who has talked to Gene or anyone has talked about how special this group is. And hard to do what they've done the last 3 years and bond together the way they have. And when you do have new players like an experienced Brad Marchand or a younger player, that family attitude has been on full display here.
Aaron Ekblad's with Elliott to David.
Absolutely, he is. They're celebrating in Windsor, Ontario right about now. Aaron, it was a little more than a decade ago you were drafted first overall here. You know, there were some lean years, but here you are now as back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. How do you put this moment into words for you?
Oh, you know what? It's impossible. It's impossible to put it into words. I'm so grateful that I've been able to be a part of this franchise for this long. And, you know, I'm excited for the future. And I really hope it's with this team.
I saw when Kulikov was bringing the cup to you, you're a pretty stoic guy. But when Kulikov was bringing the cup to you, you started bending down, you had that huge grin on your face. Can you explain what that moment is like to get that cup in your hands?
Yeah, you know what? From a guy like that, too, I love Cooley. He's a heart and soul guy. He'll block a shot. He'll make the big hit. He gave me the cup last year, and that's something we talked about, you know, brothers for life. And to be able to do it again and get it from him again is so special for me. Obviously, because we played together so long ago, and then he left and came back. So what a great opportunity. It's so special to get it from him. And I just love him as a brother and a friend and a person. So.
You mentioned brothers for life. Your brother couldn't be here for Game 7 last year. He's here tonight. What does it mean to have him here this time?
You'll make me cry, brother. That's so special. I love my brother more than anything in the world. So, a lot of history there, but you know, it means everything to me.
Congratulations. There's Aaron Ekblad. How about Sergei Bobrovsky standing by with our Gene Principe?
Thank you, David and Elliott. And, well, what's it like to be a Stanley Cup champion for a second time?
It's an amazing feeling, obviously. You know, I wanted to say thank you to the group of guys, obviously. It's been amazing work that we went through, you know, the dedication, you know, sacrifice and everything. It's been amazing. I want to say thank you to my family, to my parents, you know, for their sacrifice for me, and obviously for my wife and 2 kids, you know, they also allow me to play hockey, to do my job. And I want to thank God for everything that I have and everything that I don't have.
I wanted to ask you, when did you ever start to think in your life that the Stanley Cup would mean something to you, that you wanted to win it? What age were you, or what made you believe that you wanted to do that?
I mean, over my career, I had so many ups and downs, you know, and one of the last downs, I was probably, not many people believed in me that I can come back, you know, and yeah, and again, that's why I thank God for this experience. I couldn't even dream about, but now I'm here, winning it twice, you know, and I couldn't be more humble and appreciate it. And again, I am nothing, you know, it's all God.
Okay, Sergei, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, Craig and Chris, back to you.
Gene, we're watching the core of the team now take their victory lap, but I know you've had the privilege of doing this a couple of times, and you were particularly moved by the fact that all the first-timers got the first shot.
Yeah, I just love it, and it speaks volumes about just how important it is to have everybody being a part of it each and every day, all through the highs, all through the lows. It's not your star players who are the only ones. I had 2 great captains in the 2 years with Wayne Gretzky in '88 and Mark Messier in '90, and just watching how this team responds to Sasha Barkov, it just shows you just the character of the man and the character that he has brought to this team, and it shows each and every guy that goes around has the same story to tell, don't they?
They won't get lifted any higher than from Nico Mikkola, but Paul Maurice has said it a few different ways. Today he said there is no stratification in the room, that everybody has a job and it's all equal. And other times he said if you walked in the room, you'd never know who the star players are, because everybody gets along with everybody else and everybody shares the responsibility of winning a cup. Back to David and Elliott on the ice.
All right, thank you, Chris. Yeah, Evan Rodriguez. We had Sam Bennett here a couple of months ago, and he just said, you have no idea how hard this was the second time around. Can you describe the difference between having to do it a second time around where everyone's hunting you down?
Yeah, mentally it's a grind. Just, I think that, knowing what comes with it, right? The elation, just everything that comes with winning. You know the feeling, right? You want it so bad. You want it so much more, and mentally getting through that was a little bit harder, but I think with the fresh blood on our team, the guys who came in brought the energy, and I thought from day one in the playoffs, we stuck to our game. We had lapses here and there, and I thought as the playoffs went on, I thought we got better and better. We stayed tighter and tighter. We stuck together, and another incredible feeling.
Barkov said that the veterans as a team got together and said, if we win, all the new guys get the cup first. What's it like as someone who's won it now to see everybody get their first lap with it?
Yeah, it's just, again, like I said before, right? We know the feeling. So it's like for me with my kids, when I see them do something, it's even more exciting, right? So you get the new guys come in, their first time winning. You're just so happy for them, and you can feel, I felt that last year, and you know exactly what they're feeling, and it's just the best.
Congratulations, Evan.
Anytime, thank you.
Gene.
Elliot, thanks very much. Carter and I were just talking about how it takes quite a bit of time to get through everybody to hold the cup, but do you think guys are holding it maybe longer this year, just knowing how special it is?
Yeah, we know how hard it is to win, and it's so nice seeing all the new guys that came in this year and haven't won a cup before lift it. It gives you so much excited. We're almost more excited to see them lift it than ourselves lift it. So they had a huge impact all year for us, gave us so much energy, and yeah, it doesn't get old.
Are you able to compare this final to last final, because you were up all the way and it looked like you were a cinch to win, and then suddenly it wasn't like that, but did this one seem different?
Yeah, it was a little different. Like I said, we're a different team this year. I think we're a better team this year. We have a bunch of new guys. I feel like everyone, it was such a team effort, and everyone pulled the rope, and everyone, that's so great about our group. I think everyone has their role and does it so well, and no one complains or anything. Everyone's just, to get Brad Marchand play, he played third line and had such a huge impact for him. Like, it's crazy for us. So
as we were getting ready to do this, I think it was a 12-year-old boy who's still there, waved at you. And what about the growth of hockey in Florida, thanks to what you and your teammates are doing and how it continues on that legacy?
Yeah, it's crazy. When I first got here, I never got recognized anywhere, and now you can't go anywhere these days. So we have such great fans, and it's grown so much. You see all the little
low battery,
kids
10%.
Here,
Double tap to open up.
It's just unbelievable to see hockey so big down here.
Carter, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Craig, Chris, back to you.
Carter Verhaeghe, who had the game-clinching goals in this Tampa and Carolina series. You saw Bill Zito lifting the cup, but now Paul Maurice for the second time. Such great emotion when he talked about his dad last year. Dennis watching his name on the cup, like his heroes Jean Beliveau and Gordie Howe. Jamie Crampon in the winner's circle again.
His fourth time, Los Angeles Kings, Chicago Blackhawks, and 2 years in a row, another great member of that coaching staff.
Couldn't help but think as we watch Bill Zito, there's Sylvain Lefebvre, who does such a great job with the blue line, but Bill Zito, fingerprints all over that cup for a second straight year with the moves he made. There's Tomo Ruutu, also part of the coaching staff here.
It's always interesting. Look at the different moments in the time, and Paul Maurice is such a great
instant weather. Widespread risk of severe thunderstorms across Alberta and Saskatchewan on Tuesday could bring Timbit-sized hail.
Watching him go from player that he had to sit out. Nico Sturm was one of the first guys he went to, and you know, you're not just dealing with the top players or the superstar guys. You've got to connect with all, and what a brilliant job over these 3 years Paul Maurice has done.
Back to Gene.
Thanks, Craig and Chris and Jonah. Well, you know, is it different winning the Cup? Because last year, unfortunately, you didn't play in the playoffs, and this year you did. You feel like, hey, I really earned this opportunity to hold the most prized possession in hockey sport.
Yeah, for sure. You know, last year I was just trying to be a good, supportive teammate, and man, I was so happy to just be a part of the group, and it was such a fun year. I learned so much, and I think that carried over to this year, and you know, I'm so thankful to have gotten an opportunity, and just enjoyed every second of it, and just so blessed to be here again.
Yeah, what do you think of just what this scene is like?
It's incredible. You know, you battle all year, you know, 82 games and a long playoff run, and you know, you battle with the guys you love, and you build incredible relationships, and you know, we'll be champions forever.
Appreciate your time, and congratulations for a second time.
Thank you, sir.
Maurice. Right.
So now getting set for the pitcher that's worth 1,000 wins. The shot of the entire team and all the support staff with the Stanley Cup. That's become...
The faces say it all, doesn't it?
A great tradition.
Yeah, it really does. And again, I've said Wayne Gretzky doing this in '88 at Northlands Coliseum, and now it's just what every player's favorite picture in memory of the Stanley Cup final.
All with 2 fingers up to signify back-to-back. Won't be long till family members come out on the ice. You used to kind of go back to the dressing room and spray the champagne, but there's a lot more room out there for all the families. But right now, the immediate family is going to huddle up one more time with a cup. And a different variation of the team picture that's pretty cool as well.
Like every championship team, though, it really has been interesting listening to the players and how much their messages are entwined with each other. I mean, there's nobody off topic at all. There's nobody who feels remotely different. Everybody's important. Everybody played a significant role. How about Bobrovsky again? This his best numbers of his playoff career, and back-to-back Stanley Cup winner. Didn't win the Conn Smythe, but boy, he could have easily been one of the guys in the conversation as well.
Finished strong, finished with his 50th career playoff win as a member of the Panthers. And with the win, he equals Henrik Lundqvist on the all-time win list. And a guy you don't hear from during the season.
Right.
You have to wait till he wins a championship before we hear the interviews with Sergei Bobrovsky.
Well, now as the players have focused on their hockey family, their teammates, now this is the most exciting time for all. Family members, the kids, the reason why you play, and this never gets old, does it?
So Evan Rodriguez, who's got 2 boys here, Grayson and Noah, and his daughter Ella Bruce, but he was saying that he noticed a huge difference at the local rinks now. That he said Noah's become a young hockey player. They're at the rinks. They don't even have enough rinks because it has taken off so huge after last year's Stanley Cup. So Nate Schmidt's little one is here, but the entire culture of hockey in South Florida has changed so dramatically in a very short period of time.
And Paul Maurice was talking about the youth of this team as well, guys with their young kids. Right. And that does change the makeup of your team, too. You know, sometimes when you got a lot of younger guys that don't have families yet, they don't appreciate it. Now they bring in that family ideal into the team itself. And lots of great connections here with a group that hopes that those kids grow up and see this a few more times.
Let's head back to ice level. Here's Gene and Paul Maurice.
Yeah, Craig and Chris were just talking about how now you see some of your players have kids and how the sort of the push of hockey in Florida continues. Is that something that makes you proud?
It's one of the favorite things because I'm closing in on grandfather age, I hope. I don't want to put any pressure on my daughter. I'm just saying I'm available. Well, the players bring their kids to the rink, right? So there's generational. Kasperi Kapanen's dad played for me. But these guys now, and they're going to be pretty well thought of in Florida for a while, so they'll start to make their homes here, and these kids will grow up playing hockey, and that's how our grassroots program grows.
I want to ask you, we have to talk about a player and their role. What did you think of you and your coaching staff's role in getting the club prepared for Edmonton again, and then eventually coming to this point of success?
Well, you know, there's about 5% of the game that we're responsible for. I think we did our job. After that, and they've got a good team. And those two guys, I think maybe people up in Edmonton get used to it. But we're not used to seeing those two they are elite players. So we have to do it by committee. We were playing at some point 3 lines against them tonight and just trying to skate as fast as we possibly could. They are at bench level. I've never seen anybody move that fast.
What would you like to say to your 87-year-old father and 85-year-old mom who've been kept busy at least every second night watching you and your team?
Well, probably I'm not getting fired this summer, so that's a nice change, right? And then they get to sit and watch hockey. Mom and Dad back home, I hope you had a wonderful time. Shane and Mike and Sue St. Marie, all our family, and Windsor, Ontario, Kitchener, Ontario, Texas, all over North America, all the fine people up in Winnipeg, the family and friends that we have there. I hope you enjoyed your evening.
Paul, thank you and congratulations.
Thanks, Jim.
What a season for Paul Maurice, able to repeat as a Stanley Cup champion. Over 1,000 wins, combined regular season and postseason. Mentioned today it was the 11th place team against the 13th place team in the Stanley Cup final, and Florida prevails again.
Yeah, it's just another reminder how difficult it is to win this, doubly to win it back-to-back. And you know that once this settles down, their focus will be on trying to get back here again.
So the celebration just starting here. The Red Rain, as they call it, will continue. 2 consecutive Stanley Cups, 3 straight appearances